So in our last tutorial, we showed some special built-in PHP functions. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you some special variables that you can use. But we have to send data to a page first, and we do this with HTML. So we're going to have the first page, and we do this with the form tag that I was talking about. I showed it before, but not really. So again, if you don't know HTML, it's different than PHP because you don't need semicolons ever. So it's a little bit different, but it's useful. So the form has some extra data that it takes. One is action, and this is the page that it sends all the data to. So we're going to send it to a page called data.php. Oops. And then it has to know how it's going to send the data. You can use get or post, and either way you're going to be able to access the data. I'm going to show you both just to show you what they are. So, and then we want to, oops, I already closed the tag. So inside the form, it's kind of like the table where you do a row, then a cell, then you close the cell, then you close the row. But instead you're going to have inputs, and so you can have text before the inputs, and so that you can tell the user what the inputs are, or you can just have the inputs. So we'll create a new input, and there's multiple types. Again, they take extra data, as I like to call it. And there's different types of inputs, such as text, password. There's just a lot of them. Checkbox. There's different. Basically, there's different types of inputs, and the one we're going to be using this time is text. So we're going to have a text input, and the value inside the array that we want to pass it off is. So you remember how we had an array, so it'll be a different array. It'll be will actually be that, and then what we put in that name extra value is what it's going to be called in here. So that's how you would access where the user inputs in here. So we'll call it color, and then we also need a button to submit. So the way you do a button, let's actually make a new one real quick. And then the way you do a button to submit is it's a special type of input called submit. And then instead of name, since it doesn't have to send anything to you, put in value. And this is what it shows on the button. So we'll just say submit this! Exclamation mark 1 1 exclamation mark. Okay, and so let's, oops, not a semicolon. Close this tag up. And so what that's going to do is it's going to have an input, and the browser will recognize it as color, but the user won't see anything. And then it'll have a button to send it to data.php, where we set it up here. But we don't have a data.php page, so we're going to get an error once we send it. Save it first. Always save. So you see we have a text input and a button to send it. You see it gets an error because the page isn't there, it can't find it. So where the user types into this will be part of an array for the sub value of color. So let's actually make this easier for the user to read and put color right here. And since this is outside of all the tags, except for form, doesn't really matter. Form only affects inputs and certain other boxes, but it won't matter in this case. It will put color before the input, but the browser will still recognize this the exact same. So this will be sending to another page, and so let's create that new page right now. And again, we want to do our HTML tag, our header tag, the title, and we'll call it tutorial again. And then we want to do a body tag. And then close that. So same as before. Now we're going to actually start doing some PHP on this one. So you see that we sent this value for color, wherever the user input, and we want to be able to access this. We have to know how they sent it. In this case, they sent it with the method post. So what we want to do is we're just going to set it to another variable. We'll call this variable color, and it's equal to the value they gave us in the post method. So the way you do that is $_ capital P, capital O, capital S, capital T. Again, same as you did before, square brackets and then a string inside it, and we call that input name on our browser. So where they input in our color named input is what the color variable will equal. And then let's just echo that. I can show you what just echo that. So when we submit something, Q, it will echo Q, because that's what this equals. Or we could say blue bacon. It'll work. That's really useful. Now let's say we change this method to get. Well, let's go back and type in banana. You'll see nothing shows up. Oops. Save. And refresh. There we go. And you see nothing shows up. And you can also see this in the URL. Well, the difference between the get and the post methods is that get does in the URL. It has a maximum 100 character limit for anything that you send. But what it does allow you to do is you could save, for instance, a search. So if you're at Google, if you search on Google, you'll see that they send it through the URL. So hello, and you can see up here. Now they don't actually use MySQL, so it's a little bit different. But you can see all the information is up here. So I could copy that link and send it to my friend, and then he could just paste it or click the link and go into his browser, and it will come up the same things. It will come up with that search. So that's what get can be useful for. However, it has a 100 character limit and all that. Now what post is useful for is it doesn't send in the URL, so it's more secure. You don't have the 100 character limit for values, and main thing is security. That's basically what it's for. So it's a trade-off between the two. It's all your choice, of course, but you'll see a lot of the times when you're registering or logging in, it will use post to say, oh, I'm logging in with this username and this password. As you can see, I'm logged in here on Google. So that's what the difference between get is. So let's say we did do get. Well, now we need to be able to access this. And instead, we're not accessing post. We're accessing get. So again, $. Let's actually get rid of this so I can show you. It's a variable, so we use a $sign, an underscore, and then capital GET. It's an array, so we do square brackets to grab a value inside it, and we're grabbing the value for color. And so now this will work because our variable color is equal to the sub value for color inside this special array that was sent to us. So let's actually go to our YouTube page, or our local, YouTube. This one. So let's save this, make sure we do save it, and say color is yellow. Oh, it displays yellow because we're getting to get. But you can see up here that you can actually see that color is equal to yellow. Now we can change this. This is why it's unsecure, because somebody could go in there and just change it to whatever they want, such as W. You can see it changes. So that's why it's more unsecure. But again, it's all up to you. It depends whether you need security and whatnot. So I'm going to end off this tutorial here, and when we come back, I will continue with the get and the post methods and how you can check which one, if you have two methods sending to the same page, how you can check if it's being sent and how it's being sent.